The president announced that there's going to be a relief fund. There's donation from UN, there's the donation from House of Rep, there's donation from political parties. How are we sure that this money is not going to be embezzled?
Here's what's trending. Floods devastate parts of Central and West Africa. Global warming hits hard. Borno State, Nigeria battles massive flooding. President Tinubu responds. Earth tremors shakes FCT of Nigeria. Ghana secures a 30 million UAE grant for forest conservation. The 2024 UN Climate Change Conference, UNFCCC COP29, is set to convene in November 2024 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Welcome to the program, guys. This is What's Trending on Green Growth TV. My name is Omubo Obrabi Salomi. Looking at the headlines, we have interesting topics to cover in this particular episode. And we're going to have a deep conversation about these topics to analyze them properly. Today, I'm not going to be having the show alone. I have a very interesting guest with me. I have Mr. Abdullahi Sani, Program Coordinator at Community Rights Education Advancement Pathway. Thank you, Mr. Sani, for joining us today.
Thank you.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about your organization and what you do there?
Well, my organization, Community Right Education Pathway Advancement, which can be, we use the acronym CRIP Africa Initiative.
Wow.
Is a new organization. We started about 2 years ago, and we do have monthly engagements online with community members and stakeholders. And in coming weeks or months, we tend to have an engagement in Kuje and Abaji.
Kuje in Abuja, right?
Yes,
Nigeria.
Yes, in Abuja here. So
Okay.
we've been in talk with the officials about the upcoming program. So we want everybody to look up to it. It's a program whereby we tend to build capacity. It's a capacity building program, and as well as enlightening initiative for our teaming youths in the FCT.
Wow. So the program focused on enlightening youths in the FCT.
And capacity building.
Yes. That's very, very commendable. We're going to start with the climate change in West and Central Africa. So this year we've had several countries in the Western and Central Africa have experienced devastating floods, including Chad, Cameroon, Niger, Mali, and Nigeria. We're going to dive into Nigeria a little bit deeper later, but in Cameroon's far north region, flooding has displaced about 200,000 people, destroyed 44,000 homes, and damaged over 100,000 hectares of farmland. Chad reports nearly 1.5 million people affected, with 145 deaths and significant property damage. In Niger, flooding has displaced 41,000 people, with 11 deaths recorded. Residents are struggling with food shortages as crops and supplies were washed away. Moving on, in Mali has declared a state of natural disaster as floods impact thousands in Segal region, with families losing everything. These floods, while we can say that these floods are seasonal, this is the season of the rainy season from July, but it has been intensified due to climate change.
Yes.
And Africa has been undergoing this challenge, but Africa remains a minor contributor to global emissions, responsible for only 4% of global greenhouse gases. This raises a very, very critical question. What is being done? What more can be done? Most especially those developed countries who are the major contributors of global emissions.
Thank you very much for this wonderful question. We all know Africa as a continent contributes very little to the overall climate change problem, but that doesn't mean we should not take measures, because we are all in the same continent. What affects one part of the continent invariably affects the other parts of the continent as well.
Yes, sir.
So, but I want us to get something right. The concept of climate wash. There are big industries that are contributing to this climate problem. The European countries that are contributing to this climate problem, they make promises, and most of the times they don't fulfill these promises. And I want to use this platform to call on those countries, on those governments, to please make the pledge that they've made in respect to climate change, to alleviate the suffering of the people affected, and as well for most of we African countries that don't contribute much to be able to play our part in bringing about a net zero climate change policy. Yes.
Thank you so much. You mentioned that we Africans should play our part, and that was just my next question, that what sustainable strategies can African government adopt to protect the public ecosystem from this increasingly severe climate impact? You said that we should play our part. So my question is that how can the African government play their part?
In the last COP28, the Paris Agreement, each country is saddled with the responsibility of bringing about their own climate change policies. And Nigeria as a country came up with the policy of 30-30-30. By 2030, it's expected that our power consumption, 30% should go to renewable energy use, and then we should as well be able to generate 30 megawatts capacity. So these are things that we as a country have initiated to bring about a change in the climate problem that we are facing. And not just that, we can as well reduce the amount of waste that we use, and then as well implement policies like energy consumption policies that can bring about reduction in the climate change level, the intensity in the climate change, and as well other initiatives that can help reduce this problem on a national level.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Mr. Abdullahi. So moving on, I want us to narrow it down to Nigeria, because you mentioned Nigeria.
Yes.
On September 10th, the Alau Dam in Borno State, Nigeria, overflowed, leading to severe flooding that displaced over 400,000 people. Schools, markets, homes, and health facilities were affected. And infrastructure across the region was damaged, with 37 deaths. This disaster has pushed an already vulnerable population further into crisis. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave a speech on the 1st of October, Nigerian Independence Day, where he also addressed the recent natural disasters in part of the nation.
After Vice President Kashim Shettima visited Maiduguri, I also visited to assure our people that this federal government will always stand with our people in their times of trouble. At the last meeting of the Federal Executive Council, we approved a disaster relief fund to mobilize private and public sector funds to help us respond faster to emergencies. Our government has also ordered integrity tests of our dams in the country to avert future disasters.
How do you evaluate the Nigerian government's response so far? Is an integrity test enough to avert future floods? Is a disaster relief fund enough for the people in Maiduguri?
The people of Maiduguri in the northeast part of Nigeria have really suffered a lot.
Yeah.
There's the issue of kidnapping, banditry, Boko Haram in the region over the years, coupled with the issue of flooding that has presently devastated the region. So my heart really goes out to the people of Maiduguri. And you see, we need to really address what happened in Maiduguri. What happened in Maiduguri is as a result of collapse of the dam. You see, this is a sheer act of negligence. Before some few days before the collapse of that dam, a government representative came to the media and assured the general public that the dam is okay and they have nothing to fear. And over the years, for about 12 years, about 726 million naira have been contributed, have been budgeted for the repair of that dam, and nothing was done until the eventual collapse of that dam that affected thousands, affected about 2 million people were affected.
Yeah.
About 1 million people displaced, properties damaged, lives lost. And this ordinarily is something that can be repaired, the damage that could have been repaired by 20 million naira. I don't know why we do this to ourselves as a country. I don't know. Sometimes the governor of the state, Professor Zulu, Babagana Zulu, is somebody that we hold with high integrity. We don't expect this kind of laxity from his ends. And the president announced that there's going to be a relief fund. How are we sure that this money is going to be utilized effectively?
Exactly.
And apart from that, there's been a lot of donation to the governor. There's donation from UN, there's donation from presidency, there's donation from House of Rep, there's donation from House of Rep, there's donation from political parties, there's donation from the Senate, there's donations from everywhere.
Up to 12 billion naira has been donated.
Have been donated. How are we sure this money is not going to be embezzled? So this alone, this announcement by the president that there is going to be a relief fund to checkmate this kind of issues, and the donations that have been put forward so far is not enough. Is not enough. We need a strong political commitment. There should be a strong political will. We need to see words backed with action. Not for the president to just go to Maiduguri and visit the people and leave. No, we need to see things put in place. How are we sure that this dam is going to be repaired? What's the condition of the dam presently? Yeah. It's not only that dam that needs to be assessed. Even in FCT here, the dam needs to be assessed because there's been a shock of recent in Papi, and we have dam here in Buhari too. So the shock there is capable of affecting the dam. So these are things that need to be put into consideration when making policies, when making announcements. There should be a strong political will that will assure the general public, the international community, that the government actually has interest in mitigating this crisis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi Sani. Well spoken.
Thank you.
And okay, there's one aspect I want us to address. That is the integrity test. Because you mentioned earlier that the government had gone to check out this dam and they assured the people that there's nothing to be worried about. Now they're saying they're going to conduct an integrity test. Is it different from the one they did before? Or is it another integrity test as well? And should people be assured that this is going to the integrity test is done to avert future dams. So we assume that they're going to test dams across Nigeria to prevent this from happening as well. So what do you have to say in line with this integrity test that has been ordered?
The government agencies that are saddled with this responsibility, I want to urge them to be very mindful of their role, because this has a ripple effect on our economy, on lives, on properties. The integrity test should be conducted with all the stakeholders that are needed. In the integrity test for the dams should be conducted nationwide. All the dams should be looked into, consultants should be brought on board, and there should be a nationwide campaign towards this cause. Let the people who are close by, people who work in those facilities, when they see something, they should say something, and there is a need to deploy geospatial technologies to monitor these dams and ensure that they are in the right condition, and then the test should as well be able to mitigate future crises. And those that need maintenance, the maintenance should be done. Those that need to be repaired, to be rebuilt, should be rebuilt. And then the communities that are living around those places, they should be as well, there should be a relief material and fund available for them. Like the dam in Maiduguri, the governor has said that it will be rebuilt and expanded, and that is a good one, and we hope that is done. And like the one in Abuja here, in Buhari, I hope the landslide that we experienced has not affected it, and if it has done so, I want the Minister of FCT, the Minister of Science, all necessary stakeholders should come together and do the needful to make sure that any future occurrence should be prevented.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi Sani. Yeah. If you've been enjoying the program so far, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe. And we'll be back after this very short break. Okay, welcome back. And we're still talking about the situation in Nigeria. And so you mentioned about the earth tremor in Mpapi FCT of Abuja. And if you don't know, in recent weeks, residents of Mpapi, Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of FCT of Nigeria, has felt a series of earth tremors. The government has reassured the public that these tremors are low-risk natural events, and the government attributes these tremors to accumulated stress along fault lines. But there are questions about the role of human activities like rock blasting. Mbappe is known for rock blasting activities in the past. So before we address the rock blasting activities, we can see a pattern here,
Yes.
similar to the dam issue in Maiduguri, where the government assured the people that there's nothing to be worried about. And we are seeing the same pattern here in Mpapi. The government has assured us that there's nothing to be worried. Is there really nothing to be worried about in regard to the earth tremors that was experienced in Mpapi?
The earth tremor that was experienced in Mpapi, I don't think there's a cause for alarm, as there are some people in FCT here that are not even aware that anything like that occurred.
Yeah.
You know, if you even go to online, if you go online, you barely find much about it. The last time it occurred was in 2018. That's about 5 to 6 years ago. This is September 2018, September 5th, 2018. And ever since then, they've been enjoying some relative calm and peace in the community.
Yeah.
But then, on 16th, September 16th, right?
Yeah.
There was another occurrence which took like 3 days.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, there was no any major shaking, but there were loud sound. The people in the community said they heard loud sound and some
okay, so I would have to interject you with that.
Yes.
Because the residents in Mpapi actually said that it was very serious. Some even reported that buildings shook from the tremor. And some people were sleeping, and the way it shook, it woke them up from sleep. So that should not be a concern to the people.
Yes, yes. Actually, the people in that area, they are used to loud sound and those shaking, because there are blasting activities and mining activity going on in that area. But notwithstanding, the government have made some campaign that when they hear sound and when they experience any building shaking, they should run out of their building. And then I was asking myself, run to where? Has the government made provision for where to run to, you know? And then they should not go close to electric poles during the shaking due to fear of electrocution. So I want the authorities to make provisions for shelters in the community, so that when there's this kind of occurrences, people will have where they can run to. And not just that, again, the issue of mining that is going on in the area. There are people mining sand, and there are people doing blasting of rocks in that area, and there is digging of borehole. These are things that contribute to this tremor. So the government should provide potable water supply to stop the digging of the borehole in that area. And what we should be mindful of is that this tremor that we are experiencing is a sign of a future earthquake. So right from now, if we don't take the necessary measures, it will get worse, and what we will experience by then, it might not be what we are experiencing. People may not have where to run to. Yes, it might not be what we are experiencing now. So please, I want to call on the authorities, the FCT minister, the NEMA, and all the agencies should come together. Even the Ministry of Mine. There are people mining in that area. The people are used to all this loud sound. Even at night, they say they used to hear sounds. So these are things that need to be
Addressed
checked properly. If it is the mining that is causing this problem, it should be halted. It should be put to a stop. If it is the blasting that is causing this problem, it should be stopped. And the issue of borehole, the digging of the borehole, the government should provide water. You know, how can somebody in FCT not have water and be digging borehole? We provide everything for ourselves in this country. So the government need to sit up and own up to its responsibilities.
Thank you. I wanted to even ask about the human activities, if it is a contributing factor to the earth tremors, but I think you already answered that question. And with regard to that, I think the government is already doing regulations to regulate the activities of rock blasting in that area. So that can be commendable for the government. So moving on, and regards to what the government is also doing, the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, NGSA, has urged the residents of the Federal Capital Territory to remain calm following the report of the earth tremors. The NGSA Director General, Professor Olusegun Ige, urged the residents of the affected areas and other parts where the tremors were felt not to panic, as they were generally minor and did not pose any threat to the environment. He said the agency was closely monitoring the situation across Nigeria and would provide updates as required. So the agency, the NGSA, is saying that they're monitoring it because you mentioned that it could possibly lead to earthquake in the future.
Yes.
So now they say that they are monitoring it. Is that efficient enough? And they'll give update to the public. Is that an efficient way to manage this situation?
When the issue first occurred in 2018, it was the same thing that the government said now that they're saying. You see, there's something about Nigeria, you know, same thing keep happening. We keep complaining about the same thing. The government keep telling us the same thing, and at the end of the day, nothing will be done about it. Look at what's happened in Maiduguri. This is something preventable.
Yeah.
But instead, we allowed it to a point of no return. So as it is now, before the worst will happen, let's put sentiment aside. The people that are mining in those places, we know it's business that they are doing.
Yeah.
They've invested money. Government can make funds available for these people, and, you know, as a kind of subsidy for them. Okay, stop this activity, but take this amount and move to so place. We have this area that is lesser this thing. Because you ask yourself, why Mpape? Why? There are rocks in that place. If you've been to Mpape, if you know Abuja very well, it's a rocky terrain.
Yeah.
And this mining activity is going on there. There are quarries.
Yeah.
So why Mpape? And these activities are happening there. And we cannot rule out these human activities. You know, the government have said that, okay, the region is lying on the, what is it called, on the fault line of this earthquake activities. Good, that is well understood. But still yet, we need to put in place measures. That is even enough for us to put in place strict measures, because the place is lying on the fault line.
Yeah.
That is why we need to put in place these measures to ensure that this future disaster
does not occur,
is prevented.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi. So we're going to move on to a lighter note. We're moving on to a lighter note. Let's turn our attention to Ghana, where the government has secured a 30 million grant from the UAE, Dubai, for a forest conservation and community support. This initiative aims to create alternative livelihoods while promoting reforestation. My question is, how significant is this grant for Ghana's efforts to combat deforestation and promote sustainable development?
This grant from Dubai to Ghana, if I clearly understand, Dubai is a desert country.
Yes, sir.
And Ghana is a forest country. So you can see the irony. People that don't have trees, that wish to have trees, are giving you money for you to maintain your own trees. Africa, we can do better, you know. And Ghana should not forget, we are their brothers. Nigeria and Ghana, we are brothers. So that 30 million, they can share it with us. You see, these are commitments.
Yeah.
Towards policy statements. We cannot call Dubai a climate wash country because they are putting West to action. They made commitment that they would do, and they are doing it.
They're doing it.
So other countries, other European countries that are contributing more to the climate change problem should do like what Dubai is doing. They should not just make statements, they should put words to actions. And I want to use this as well to call on our CSOs to assess this funding. They should go for them. There are opportunities for this funding out there. They should go for them. There are so many parts in Nigeria that need this funding that can be effectively utilized.
Yeah.
Ghana, I believe this money will go a long way in bringing about changes in the forest reserve in Ghana, and I hope the money is effectively used as well.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important. Thank you so much. I think you've even answered my next question, because I wanted to ask, how can other African countries follow this model of getting this kind of grants from other countries? And you mentioned that CSOs can also go after this. So I wanted to ask you, can you elaborate on how CSOs across Africa, not just Nigeria, across Africa, can follow this model and go after such grants?
Yes, some of these grants are not accessible by CSOs. They are like this one, I believe, is to the government.
Yes.
So, but the CSO can come together, form a cluster, and then back up policy statement to the government. And then government will now begin to see that, okay, so there are issues that need to be addressed. And the government can now present this to other governments, and then the other bigger government like in the Europe can now see that, okay, there are issues on ground that actually need to be addressed. And then they will now make a commitment, just as Dubai have done. Towards this climate change issues. Like in some part of Nigeria, there was drought in the early farming period. So they will need some of this funding to be able to implement irrigation system to have to be able to have food to prevent food shortage. And then, you know, there are so many things that the government can do with these funds, and the government have been campaigning that people should start small-scale farming in their backyard. So you see, enlightenment can be done in that area, and then these funds can be put to make all these things possible. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi. So, countdown to 2024 UN Climate Change Conference, COP29, in Baku, Azerbaijan, on the 11th to 22nd of November. So my question is, what are your expectations for the Conference of Parties, COP29, this year? Because you mentioned it earlier at the beginning of this show.
Yes, the COP 28, which took place in Dubai.
Yes.
Was a good outing. The Nigerian president was there, and I hope he will be present during the COP29 in Azerbaijan. Um, as Nigeria as a country, as a leading African country, I want them to take responsibility as leaders of the continent and mobilize the other African countries to call for climate actions. When do they want it?
Yeah.
And how do they want it? And then as well should be able to network among other countries on how to access some of these funds, just as Ghana just did. I believe such platform is a very big opportunity for such networking to take place. So I look forward to a great outing from Nigeria as leaders of the continent, and then I as well look forward to a positive outcome.
Yes. We all look forward to a positive outcome. So another question is, with the roadmap, because this year their roadmap's mission is to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So how realistic do you think this goal is, considering the current pace of climate action globally?
Yes, the 1.5 temperature global warming target was part of the Paris Agreement. And what this simply means is that pre-industrialization, let's say the temperature of Abuja is 20 degrees, and then post-industrialization, the temperature should not rise more than 1.5. That is to say, it was 20 degree before. So now it should be 21.5.
It should not be more than that.
It should not be more than that. That is what this simply means. There are number of countries that are pushing towards the net zero, that are trying to achieve that, and I believe those with higher carbon credit that are selling to those with lower carbon credit, all these initiatives are things that can bring about achieving the Paris Agreement of the 1.5 degree climate change temperature policy. So it's achievable, but it's not something that can be done with mere words. There needs to be commitment. There needs to be action. You know, we don't just say that, okay, we want to achieve this, and how do we achieve them? What actions are we ready to take? What sacrifices are we ready to make? So there is a move towards EV, electric vehicles. They are adopting. China is doing that with their BYD. I can see Elon Musk coming up with electric vehicles. So they need to make policies that will make that aspect of the economic viable for other manufacturers to come in, so that we can mitigate this crisis of climate change.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi Sani. So moving on, how do you think international communities and African communities can come together to prioritize and adequately address this during the conference? Because you said that the problem now is the how. They've stated their reason. The problem now is the how.
Yes.
So I think you've also answered this already, or if you have more to share.
Yeah, I think I would like to add one or two more. You see, the issue of energy consumption, the issue of global global warming is something that when you look at it strategically, is something that the numbers are there.
Yeah.
When you follow the numbers, countries like Egypt, some years back, they were having energy shortage. And at a point, they sat up and began to take drastic measures, and they were able to meet their target and even begin distributing to other countries around them. So by the time you are able to meet your energy target, you can now begin to implement policies and measures that will enable you meet your commitment, your climate change policy commitment. But reverse is the case. I'm sorry to say, for my country, Nigeria, we've not been able to meet our target, our 30-30-30 target. By year 2030, we say we should have been able to, we should be generating 30 megawatts of electricity. And as it is today, we are just in between 5 to 6 megawatts. So how can we be able to meet that?
Yeah, you mentioned that African nations, Nigeria being the lead or the leader of these African countries, you might have some kind of controversies and for that statement, because other African countries will not agree that Nigeria is the lead African countries. Only Nigerians think that. So it's essential for African nations to like voice their specific needs and their challenges related to climate change. But do you believe that there will be a tangible outcome from COP29 for African countries in terms of funding and support for climate initiatives?
Yes. I know South Africans will disagree, but notwithstanding, we've always been we've been playing the role of a big brother to our other African countries, most especially Ghana. Yes, and COP29 in Azerbaijan is another opportunity for Nigeria as a country to step up in its big brother role and lead the way. I don't expect this to be any controversy. Anybody can take the lead as far as it's going to bring about a positive outcome. But at the back of our mind, we should know that we as a continent, Africa as a continent, we have more to gain than to lose during this outing. We should come together as one and then channel our course to see how we can access funding from this outcome, and as well network, make a lot of friends. So COP29, I believe, is going to be a very big outing for us, and I look towards seeing a positive
outcomes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi, for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful insights with us. We all look forward to COP29 and for a better outcome for Africa as a continent. And that's it, guys, for the show today. These discussions just remind us that climate change is not only a future problem, it's a present reality. We are living it already. We cannot keep ignoring it. So the time for action is now. And it's crucial that all nations, big or small, do their part. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdullahi, once again for joining us today. And until next time, stay informed and stay proactive. Bye.